Patriots just wrapped up their Thursday practice. I'm Meredith Gorman here at Gillette Stadium with our Patriots beat writer Dakota Randall. And Dakota, the Patriots obviously looking to bounce back after that loss to the Cowboys on Sunday. But when you look at the Saints team that's coming to town, we heard a lot of players today talk about the talent in that group of players. How will this defense have to stop the Saints offense?
Yeah, they say that, and I'm sure they mean it to some extent. And the Saints do have some talented players. Alvin Kamara leading the list. Chris Olave is one of the great young receivers in the NFL. However, if you think the Patriots offense is bad, the Saints offense might be even worse. I mean, they have been terrible this year. They've been terrible for a while. Derek Carr has been about as expected, which is to say not very good. And he's also been hurt. So, this could be a rock fight with the Patriots. But that said, the Saints do have some weapons. Kamara, Olave, Taysom Hill, the tight end / quarterback. So they certainly have the talent to put up points. But I think if the Patriots defense just plays their game, play smart football, I think they'll be all right.
We've heard the Patriots offensive players defend Mac Jones. They said, we're turning the page. This is a new week. We're kind of putting what happened against the Cowboys behind us. But when you look at the Patriots offense and the way they've played through these first 4 weeks of the season, how do they perform better this Sunday now back at home?
Well, listen, I think one underrated part about the Saints is they have one of the better defenses in the league. Now, they gave up 26 points last week to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That snapped a streak of 11 games in a row of them giving up 20 or fewer points. It's actually been 12 out of 14 games dating back to last season where they've given up 20 points or less. So you don't really think about the Saints as one of the better teams or better defenses in the NFL. And they don't really have a ton of players who are household names, but that is a very solid defense. So the Patriots, I think, start for them to score points this week. It starts with protecting Mac Jones. I mean, we can all talk about how poorly Mac played in that game, and I think that's true. And we can also talk about the receivers and their lack of separation, which also is fair. But I think this really starts and ends with the offensive line. They gave up pressure on 52% of passes last week. No quarterbacks winning that game. So I think they have to start things on the offensive line. They have to get things figured out there, and they have to protect Mac Jones or they're not going to beat anybody.
We went out for the beginning of Patriots practice today. Obviously, no Matthew Judon or Christian Gonzalez as they deal with those significant injuries and surgeries that they ultimately have to go through, and they haven't been placed on IR yet. But aside from J.C. Jackson being on the field today after the Patriots traded with the Chargers for him just yesterday, what stood out from practice today, and what are you going to be monitoring in terms of any players coming back from IR this week?
Yeah, so today was the same as yesterday in terms of the players on these reserve lists who were either out there or weren't out there. So out there for the second day in a row were Trey Flowers, the defensive end, and Cody Davis, the special teamer, and then offensive lineman, tackle / guard Riley Reif. The Patriots now have 20 days to activate them or put them on the active roster. I think of the three, Trey Flowers is the most interesting, just with Daniel Aquale going down. Patriots a little thin on the defensive line. You wonder if maybe he can come in and make a contribution. But as far as players that weren't there, again, it's kind of a surprise to me that Tyquan Thornton hasn't come back and started practicing. It seemed like he was maybe on the cusp of a return. I think the offense needs his speed, but it's not looking good for this week. Maybe that changes next week. And Jack Jones also not out there still. The reports are that he's going to be out at least a couple more weeks with that hamstring injury. So we'll have to see if he ends up beating that timetable. But for now, those two players don't look like they're going to play this weekend either.
Patriots back here in Foxborough at home on Sunday after a couple weeks on the road, looking to bounce back. Thanks so much, Dakota, and make sure to follow along with NESN for all of your Patriots coverage leading up to this Week 5 game.
PNC Bank, helping to make banking easier.